So it's a funny story. Kayla's in there watching Avatar: The Way of Water or whatever, which she'll fall asleep.
Yeah.
But I was just reading an article about Avatar.
Yes.
And at the end, it was like Avatar comes out in, May or June or whenever it came out. I thought it was of this year. I didn't know it was out. It's been out for like a fucking year.
Yeah, it came out in like January or something.
I don't know. All I know is I thought it was coming out like in the future, and then I found out a few days ago that the movie's been out for quite a while.
Oh yeah, it says 2022 film. Huh. It was December of last year.
First 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Horse shit. Terrible.
Shocking. Uh-huh.
And the fact that they waited so long to make it and then spent so much to make it, and then it's still like complete horse shit at the beginning is like, wow. Cool.
Welcome to Namely 90s. Wow. The podcast that takes you back to the time before smartphones, Google, and Y2K. Join your hosts as they relive the pop culture that shaped a generation and the parts that many people wish they could forget. Listen in to the conversation about how the decade defined those who spent their childhood there and how it shaped them as adults. So, turn down the grunge and dial up the internet. Let's get started. It's time for Namely 90s.
That's right. You're listening to Namely 90s. My name's Andrew, and over there is Brandon.
That's me.
You can find us online at namely90s.com or on Instagram at namely90s with a 90s. You can also find the show on YouTube every Monday at youtube.com/@namely90s. And if you'd like to support the show, head over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/namely90s, also with a 90s, and get signed up for one of those support levels. Hey, the website's actually up right now.
Yeah, I'm glad you fixed it earlier on last week.
Albeit much slower on the load times, but you know what? We're not making money over here.
Yeah, it's only affecting the person that has to re-upload the last 5 posts.
Yeah, I'll admit I did screw that up, but
yeah, but you were doing it in a hurry because you forgot to do it because you were busy.
Well, no, what had happened was, I made the backup to test to see how it would transfer over.
Right.
It worked fine, but then I forgot about it for a long time. And then the other host deleted the account. So there was just nothing there.
Immediately.
Whoops, sorry.
No worries. Yeah. It only took like a few minutes to get those posts back. And the same spam just went there instantly too. No, kidding. Kind of. Not really. How's your... do you want to talk about this Jurassic Park thing?
Well, Jurassic Park turns 30 this year.
Last week it did.
I was sitting on the airplane and I heard a conversation going on behind me. Someone was like, how's it going with that Jurassic Park book? And then some younger girl is like, it's really good. I'm not sure. Sorry. I'm not sure if the movie came before the book or after, but it's really close. So either this came after or they did a really good job adapting the book to a movie. And he was like, I don't know. I think books usually come out before the movie. And I just was like dying internally.
Yeah.
I'm like, why am I not saying anything?
Why were you not saying anything?
I just can't. I can't bring myself to interact with anyone on an airplane. Actually, yeah. No, I mean, it's a fairly close adaptation. I mean, there's just like characters that aren't even in it. Yeah. But, I just was like, oh my gosh, you're so young. Making me feel old.
Yeah. If I left that clip in earlier, that's 2 stories. I was feeling old this week. But speaking of feeling old, I don't know if you saw it in the outline, but to celebrate the 30th anniversary, the former actress that played Lex in the movie, Ariana Richards, recreated the famous shaky jello scene on TikTok 30 years later.
God, she's 43.
Yep.
What happened?
Right?
Time. Jeez. I'm not saying I'm not saying her appearance. I'm just saying like what happened with time passing.
To be fair, she looks like how I feel like 43 should look, not like how actors like.
Yeah, well, 43 is the new
now.
blah, 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 blah.
Like Elizabeth Hurley, Keanu Reeves. Who else? There's like a handful of actors that look like they're still in their 30s.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves doesn't appear to age, although the whole like weird side mutton chop thing is not a good look for him.
With the long hair and the John Wick look.
Yeah, don't even get me started on John Wick.
I mean, we have time to kill. Do you want to get started on John Wick?
I had to watch like the same scene from John Wick 4 a bunch of times because the person in front of me on all my flights was watching John Wick. And it was like, I'm tired of seeing this scene and it's without sound, you know? And I just keep glancing up and I'm like, it's the scene again. And it looks dumb.
To which I said, oh, that's just the same scene. Or John Wick is just a series of the same scene over and over and over
Pretty
again.
much.
Neither of us has seen it yet, so we can't really judge.
I will, though.
Yeah, Andrew always does. Wow. We did not fill up any time in our chit chat this week.
Didn't even really actually talk about the thing you were talking about.
Oh, I mean, we one and done. She did the Jello thing.
She did the Jello thing.
She looks 43.
She ticked out with her talk out.
Yep.
But yeah, 30 years. Wow.
I know, right? It's like the thing that terrified you as a kid, and then suddenly it's 30 years old.
I saw something on the interweb. I think it was maybe on Facebook where it was like the whole scene where they're in the kitchen shortly after the Jello scene.
Yes.
The whole situation where the Velociraptors are chasing them. Apparently, they mapped that whole scene out, like the shots that he wanted, Steven Spielberg wanted, and all that, using stop motion animation. And it's kind of goofy to watch. I should send it to you, but it's kind of funny because he's like, cause it's a bunch of CG, and he was like, "How do I want these shots to look? Like, what are the views I want?" And they did it all with stop motion. With it stop motion animation, claymation.
Well, that's funny because from what I remember, that's what they were originally going to do. Like, it wasn't going to be CG, because the CG was a late addition that someone at Lucasfilm was just like futzing around with for the T-Rex, and was like, I think Spielberg was there. Like, it was an underling who kept being like, "Hey, we should use this computer generated graphics stuff because it looks good." And his like direct supervisor was like, "No, we're not going to waste our time with that." And so he worked on like the dinosaur chase, the T-Rex chase scene. And I think that was it. I think that was the scene, and kind of just like snuck it in there. Like, he just happened to have it on his desktop when Spielberg was there looking at the animatics for some of the other scenes, and he's like, "Oh, what's this?" And he was like, "This looks good. Can we do this for all the other animated scenes?" And that's how Jurassic Park turned into one of the best early CG films, or CG added films.
It's kind of, I've been watching, like, well, I follow Michael Crichton on Facebook, who I realize is dead, but he has like a Facebook page, his official Facebook page. And they've been posting videos of like behind the scenes footage from Jurassic Park, like Steven Spielberg and all the people working on the film. Man, it's just viciously 90s, like just what they're wearing and like, oh man. Just so 90s. Last weekend I was out of town. We went on the Warner Brothers studio tour, and apparently some of their sets they have a specific jungle set on the lot that it's the last official jungle set in the Hollywood area, Los Angeles area. For shooting, so other studios will come in and shoot on their lots. So we drove down the road where they did the Must Go Faster scene with the T-Rex. Nice. Yeah, that was pretty cool. And also, yeah, it's much shorter than you think it is. That's what she said.
Yes, always.
Oh. God.
Speaking of which, it's Pride Month.
Yeah, it is.
So that's what they said, Andrew. That's what they said.
I mean, yeah, okay.
No, that's what I like to say.
Yeah, I just have to talk about my experience at Best Buy today.
Okay, yes, I saw the pictures.
So I pull into the Best Buy, and I'm just like in my truck, kind of like getting my phone, gathering myself before I go, because I had to like return this thing that I bought. I bought a laptop case; it didn't fit.
Right.
Well, I'm sitting there, and I look over, and I see a goose in a stroller. A woman is pushing a stroller containing a goose, and then a Best Buy employee hands her acquaintance, another woman of an indeterminate but older age, a 6-pack of what looks to be, was that Miller Lite?
Yes. Also, they look the same age.
A 6-pack of Miller Lite, and then they walk together, the goose girl and her counterpart, also a woman again, back to their car, and then they return to the Best Buy with the goose in the stroller and then go inside. And I'm just like, what am I witnessing here? Also, like the first picture where they're walking out of the store with a goose and a 6-pack, you probably think, oh, it's like a grocery store or like a convenience store. Then you pan out and it's a Best Buy. Like, why is there a 6-pack? Why is there a goose? Why is it in a stroller? What is their relationship? Who's the guy inside the Best Buy who appeared to be working there that brought out a 6-pack of Miller Lite to them?
And why was there a Miller Lite in the Best Buy?
Yeah, thank you. I just don't understand. Oh, gosh. But I have pictures.
Yes. The goose was clearly an employee. And
hey, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander.
Yeah. And those were definitely teenagers. No. Yeah, I have no answers to your questions.
Okay, good.
Good talk. Speaking of good talking, should we get into this deep dive?
Let's do it. Hold on to your butts.
Yeah, so honestly, I didn't really have a topic for this week, and Secret Invasion is coming out, starring Samuel L. Jackson on Disney Plus. It's the new Marvel show on Disney Plus.
Oh, good, another one.
Yes. But it's like it's more spycraft thriller, alien invasion. Everyone could be a changeling scroll thing. So yeah, we're doing that. Samuel Leroy Jackson. And God, I just want to say Leroy, except Jackson, not Jenkins.
Jackson.
Yeah. Was born on December 21st, 1948, and is an American actor and producer. He is one of the most widely recognized actors of his generation, and he's collectively grossed over $27 billion worldwide in the films that he's appeared in, which makes him the second highest grossing actor of all time. And you can guess now who is the number one highest grossing actor of all time, because we'll have that at the end.
See, the problem is I already looked it up before you could ask me. I was surprised and then not surprised after I thought about it.
It's the cameos, man.
It's the cameos.
All right. Do you want to save it till the end? You could spoil it.
Oh,
up to you.
Want me to say?
It's up to you.
It's Stanley.
Yes, Stanley Kubrick of 2001: A Space Odyssey. No, it's Stan
Lee.
Because he cameoed in all those Marvel movies and all the preceding Marvel movies before the MCU.
But the lead role ones, almost all of them are related to the Avengers, except Zoe Saldana and Tom Cruise.
Oh, that makes sense, because she's in Avatar, she's in Marvel, and she's in Star Trek. That's impressive. And then Tom Cruise has like 27 Mission Impossibles. Yeah,
he really does. Show me the money.
There's a new one coming out this next month, I think.
Fun.
Yeah. Let's see. In 2022, Jackson received the Academy Honorary Award as a cultural icon whose dynamic work has resonated across genres and generations and audiences worldwide. So yeah, let's take us back. He was born the only child of Elizabeth Harriet née Montgomery and Roy Henry Jackson. He grew up in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and yes, his father was not around, and Jackson had only met his father twice during his life. So he was raised by his mother, who was a factory worker, and also his maternal grandparents, Edgar and Pearl, as well as other extended family. He attended several segregated schools and graduated from Riverside High School in Chattanooga. He was a band geek, apparently. He played the French horn, piccolo, trumpet, and flute in the school orchestra. And he was a childhood stutterer. And he learned to pretend to be other people who didn't stutter, to get rid of his own stutter. Yes, he still to this day has days where he stutters. He uses the word, I guess this will be an E-tag episode. He uses the word motherfucker.
It's a Samuel L. Jackson episode. It's going to be explicit.
That's fair. Yeah. He uses the word motherfucker to get through a speech block, which I think is kind of fun. Right.
Classic.
Yeah. And then let's see. He originally wanted to pursue a degree in marine biology. He attended Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia, but after joining an acting group there to earn extra points in a class, he found an interest in acting and switched his major. Before graduating, he founded the Just Us Theater. And let's see, in 1968, after Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination, he attended King's funeral in Atlanta as one of the ushers.
Oh, that's like a weird kind of trivia fact.
Right? I never knew this. He traveled to Memphis, Tennessee to join an equal rights protest march. In a 2005 Parade interview, he said, I was angry about the assassination, but I wasn't shocked by it. I knew that change was going to take something different, not sit-ins, not peaceful coexistence. And in 1969, Jackson and several other students held members of the Morehouse College Board of Trustees, including Martin Luther King Sr., hostage on the campus, demanding reform in the school's curriculum and governance. The college eventually agreed to the change in its policies, but Jackson was charged with and eventually convicted of unlawful confinement, a second-degree felony. So he was suspended for 2 years for his criminal record and his actions, but he would later return to college and earn a BA in drama in 1972. There's speculation that during that time he left and became a part of the Black Panthers, but I originally didn't want to include that because it was just speculation, and Jackson has denied these claims.
Perfect. We're like one of those podcasts now.
Yes.
So and how about the fluoride in the drinking water?
Yeah.
And that 5G.
Yep. Jackson initially majored in, we already said that. He settled on drama after taking a public speaking class where he had to, he got extra points for going to the theater, and he appeared in the Threepenny Opera, which is, I'm going to guess, some sort of play.
I still don't understand opera compared to plays, compared to musicals.
Opera, you sing the entire time. Musicals, you sing most of the time.
No, they actually don't. Operas, they don't sing all the time.
Opera is Italian? No.
I think you might actually sing more in a musical.
That's true.
I think you occasionally shout in a speaking voice to the audience, but then it's mostly singing. I think opera is kind of like the combination for me to play in a musical more.
Yeah, it's something about the structure and the way you, I don't know. I've watched plenty of operas. I wish I knew the difference.
I think you were going to say, I wish I hadn't. That's where I'm at.
No, actually, I do like Puccini's operas.
Well, but I watched that American opera, and I'm sorry, it just doesn't work.
I don't think opera should be in English.
Yeah, it was, and it was bad. Not the performance, but just the actual
the quality of the content.
The actual content.
That's fair. If you're gonna sing to me in English, I'll watch Cats. Jackson began acting on the stage, including in a play called Home and A Soldier's Play, which was the inspiration for the film A Soldier's Story in 1984. He appeared in several television films and made his feature film debut in the blaxploitation independent film Together for Days. Do you know what blaxploitation is, Andrew?
I have a good sense of what it is. First of all, it's a portmanteau.
It is a portmanteau. So it was a style of movie common in like the 70s and 80s where it was all black character or all black actors, but it was kind of like what's the term? Pandering. And kind of stereotyping. But yeah, it gave us movies like Shaft. I think that's technically a blaxploitation flick. Anyways, and then like modern films would be more like the Django.
Yeah, I suppose you're right.
Like that's a play on it. Yeah, the Dynamite Brothers. But yeah, there's a lot of comedies. There's a lot of like Dolomite. Maybe Shaft wasn't one of them.
I think you're still allowed to make those movies. You're just not allowed to be white and make those movies.
Yes.
You know
exactly.
what I mean? In that time, you were white and making those movies, probably, or it probably happened.
Yeah. Well, an exploitation film in general is just one that tries to succeed financially by exploiting current trends, niche genres, or lurid content. So they're like B movies generally.
Okay.
So it's the black subgenre under exploitation films, which just sounds bad in general. After these initial roles, he moved from Atlanta to New York City in 1976, and he spent the next decade appearing in stage plays, including premieres of The Piano Lesson, Two Trains Running at the Yale Repertory Theater. If you're a listener who's really into plays, let us know what those are.
Yeah.
To supplement his income while auditioning, he worked at the Manhattan Plaza apartment complex as an overnight security guard. At this point, he developed addictions to alcohol and cocaine, which prevented him from proceeding with the two plays to Broadway. He made his professional theater debut in Mother Courage and Her Children in 1980 at the Public Theater. Oops, am I jumping back? No. And from 1981 to 1983, he originated the role of Private Lewis Henderson in A Soldier's Play off Broadway. Kind of jumping around here. After 1981, after a performance of The Soldier's Play, he was introduced to Spike Lee, director Spike Lee, who cast him for small roles in School Days and Do the Right Thing. He worked for 3 years as a stand-in for noted rapist Bill Cosby. He
was standing in for Bill Cosby when Bill Cosby was busy inappropriately touching people.
Yeah. Throughout his early film career, mainly in minimal roles in films such as he had minimal roles in films such as Coming to America. That was, they made a second one recently.
I'm sure it was great.
The Eddie Murphy movie, and he was mentored by Morgan Freeman.
How did he pull that off?
I don't know. He kind of, I assume you just sit near Morgan Freeman and he starts saying something like, Andy Dufresne was a wise man, but he never knew what he was doing.
Do we, other than when he plays like donkeys and stuff, do we like Eddie Murphy?
Oh, Eddie Murphy.
I don't really like his shtick.
I mean, I
don't know if any live action film I like him in. No offense, I'm just saying, like,
I liked the Nutty Professor when we were kids. The first one. You don't like animal films. I can see your nose twitching. What else? I like his SNL stuff.
Okay, I could see that, but I haven't loved any movie he's done.
Yeah, I mean, he's
I
like,
just don't think I get it.
he's the Adam Sandler of that class of SNL. I feel like
Well, slapsticky.
now Charlie Murphy, he was on the Chappelle Show. Yeah. What else? He played a minor role in the Scorsese film, the 1990 Scorsese film Goodfellas, as a real life mafia associate, Stack Edwards. Let's see. He appeared in after overdosing on heroin several times and switching to cocaine, his family entered him into a New York rehabilitation clinic. So he went through rehab, and after completing it, he appeared in Jungle Fever as a crack cocaine addict. To which he said the role was cathartic, saying it was a kind of funny thing. By the time I was out of rehab, about a week or so later, I was on set where we were ready to start shooting for the film. His performance was so acclaimed that at the 1991 Cannes Film Festival, they added a special supporting actor award just for him for that role.
Wow.
Yeah. Following his success for that role, he became involved with the comedy Strictly Business and the dramas Juice and Patriot Games, starring Harrison Ford as Jack Ryan. Which
should be watching these. I haven't watched any of these old Jack Ryan movies.
I think, honestly, I don't think the Harrison Ford ones are great. And it feels like it's just Air Force One.
Yeah, I think he was. Yeah, he's the right vibe.
Thora Birch is in it as his daughter. She was the younger sister from Hocus Pocus.
He was too old.
Yeah, but he was like fresh off of Indiana Jones 3, so that's like weird that he aged so much in like 3 years. Let's see. Samuel L. Jackson moved on to other comedies, including National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon 1, which was his first starring role, and Amos and Andrew, a film I have no idea about. He also worked with director Steven Spielberg in 1993's Jurassic Park. And that's full circle for you.
Yeah, where he's known for the famous line, "Hold on to your butts."
Hold on to your butts while smoking a cigarette. Do you think he was talking about your booty or
I don't know.
Butts? Yeah. I like Samuel L. Jackson's role in Jurassic Park.
It's good.
Until he gets like turned into a cheap jump scare. Or his arm does.
His arm does. I think he's not actually described as black in the book, but everything else about him is described to a T.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he played that role perfectly. It's because we know him as that, that role.
Yeah.
Also, why did I think the guy who played Dennis Nedry, who's the same guy who played Newman on Seinfeld, I thought he was dead for like the last 10 years.
That's crazy.
Why did I think he was dead? Who died that I thought was him?
I have no idea.
It was someone from Seinfeld, I thought.
He was in the remember when our previous president was screwing up the Postal Service? He was in like a pro Postal Service ad campaign to support them. And that was like 2020. So
who did I think died?
Who did you think died that was on Seinfeld? The core cast is still alive. I could not tell you.
Maybe I'm just crazy. I swear I thought he died.
Like Woody Harrelson's still alive. Like I'm going through cast of Frasier and Cheers too for some reason.
No, there's nobody. I'm just nuts. I'm just losing my mind.
Like,
wow.
If you were to cast a real life Peter Griffin, would it be Dennis Nedry?
Yeah.
The actor.
Yeah, kind of. But also Caswell, big fat sloppy guy.
Yes. Maybe it was Robin Williams.
But yeah, I liked him in Jurassic Park. He got a decent amount of screen time. It was a huge blockbuster, you know?
Mm-hmm. Leads to bigger and better things. Do I have to say it?
And now let's go to Brandon for the Namely 90s Minutes.
Welcome after a mid-episode break, Name Me 90s Minute. Every week we look back at a culturally relevant show, movie, or piece of pop culture that probably helps stoke the algorithm. This week, in honor of Samuel L. Jackson starring in the Disney Plus MCU thriller series Secret Invasion, we're looking back at Die Hard with a Vengeance. Wait, why aren't we doing Pulp Fiction? Die Hard with a Vengeance is a 1995 action thriller starring Corbin Dallas from The Fifth Element, Alfred from the DCEU, Jules from Pulp Fiction, and the composer from the Gilmore Girls who was once referred to as a Christian Cyndi Lauper. Why aren't we doing Pulp Fiction? The story starts with a department store in New York getting blown up by a bomb in the early morning, and the bomber, identifying himself as Simon, calling into Moonlighting's precinct, claiming that more bombs will go off unless he is sent to Harlem wearing a sandwich board with a racial slur on it. So they comply and send him out there dressed like that, and Mace Windu saves him from being killed by a group of men who take umbrage to the sign. The pair then go on an adventure through New York City, being led by Simon, who goads them into doing challenges, else he sets off more bombs. Who they actually find out is Simon Gruber, brother of Severus Snape, who the Sixth Sense dropped off the roof of Nakatomi Tower in Los Angeles, saving his yet again estranged wife a few Christmases ago. Simon then threatens all the elementary schools in New York with a bomb threat, saying that one of them has a bomb and will only disclose its location if the pair solve another riddle. 12 Monkeys realizes that Simon is distracting the NYPD to stretch them thin while he hits a part of town they aren't in, Wall Street, and finds Simon's men stealing $140 billion worth of gold bullion, using dump trucks as a cover. Simon explodes a dam, there's a car chase, and eventually the pair follows the dump trucks back to a tanker ship, sneak aboard, and get captured. They get tied up with what appears to be the bullion in the cargo hold and a bunch of explosives. They then escape just before the bombs explode and inform the NYPD that although Simon said he was trying to destroy the economy by sinking the bullion, it was staged and they're clearly keeping it for themselves. Unbreakable notices that a bottle of aspirin Nick Fury gave him on the tanker was purchased at a rest stop near the Canadian border, so they all race there and catch the bad guys before they can escape. Simon and his girlfriend try to flee in a helicopter but can't help attacking Hudson Hawk, who shoots at overhead power lines which fall on the helicopter, causing it to crash. At the very end, Frozone convinces Tears of the Sun to call his estranged wife again. And that's Die Hard with a Vengeance in a Name Me 90s Minute. More or less.
And now, back to the show.
All right, diving back in, he was in Jurassic Park, and then also 93, he was the criminal Big Don in True Romance, which was written by Tarantino and directed by Tony Scott. This led to Quentin Tarantino asking Samuel L. Jackson to play Jules Winnefeld. Jules. He played Jules in Pulp Fiction.
I love Tony Scott movies.
Really?
That's the guy who does all those Denzel Washington movies.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Jackson was surprised to learn that the part had been specifically written for him. And he said, "To know that somebody had written something like Jules for me, I was overwhelmed, thankful, arrogant, this whole combination of things that you could be knowing that somebody's going to give you an opportunity like that." Pulp Fiction was Jackson's 30th film and commonly cited as the movie that made him internationally recognized.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's the one that propelled him to stardom.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think you can say he wasn't internationally recognized after Jurassic Park. You know what I mean?
True, but
I know he wasn't billed as a top.
He's definitely a side character in that.
But still, you can't be in Jurassic Park and not be, known to the world.
I mean, can you name the actor who played Newman in Seinfeld?
Only because I looked him up recently and then I already forgot.
See?
No, I know, but I'm just saying,
same
all
amount
those
of screen
crappy
time.
movies he did.
Yeah. How about a household name versus recognition? Oddly enough, the Entertainment Weekly wrote this of Jackson's performance in Pulp Fiction, and I kind of I'll just read it to you. As superb as Travolta, Willis, and Keitel are, the actor who reigns over Pulp Fiction is Samuel L. Jackson. He just about lights fires with his gremlin eyes, and he transforms his speeches into hypnotic bebop soliloquies. Emphasis
the hell
mine.
does that mean?
Emphasis mine. I don't know. That sounds a little racist to me. Just gonna say.
Yeah. What the hell's a bebop soliloquy? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
I mean, yeah. Makes it sound because the running gag about Samuel L. Jackson in the movie is he goes off on these soliloquies. Specifically, he has like this line from the Bible that everyone quotes because he's quoting in the movie. But he does these really good just like soliloquies during the film, I guess you would call them. But bebop makes it sound like you're like looking for a word that says ethnic without saying ethnic.
It's true. It's true.
Can you sound more urban?
Bebopish?
Yeah.
Urban. You can't say ghetto anymore.
I should have said it in the 90s, but I think they did a lot. For the Academy Awards, Miramax Film pushed for and received the Best Supporting Actor nomination for Jackson. He also received a Golden Globe nomination and won a BAFTA for Best Supporting Role. And then after Pulp Fiction, he received multiple scripts to look at. And he said, I could have easily made a career out of playing Jules over the years. Everybody's always sending me the script they think is the new Pulp Fiction. So he didn't want to be typecast. So he was just like, nah, I'm going to do what I want to do. So he did three films afterwards that weren't the greatest performers, including Kiss of Death, The Great White Hype, and Losing Isaiah. And he began to receive poor reviews from critics who had lavished his urban performance in Pulp Fiction. But this ended when he was in two box office successes, Die Hard with a Vengeance.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He did well in a third movie in a series.
Yes.
Wow.
That's it's not the strongest one, but his performance is pretty good. I think 3 is better than 2. And then
I can see that,
yeah, starring alongside Bruce Willis. You all just heard the Namely 90s Minute on that. And A Time to Kill, where he played a father put on trial for killing the 2 men who raped his daughter. He also earned an NAACP Image for Best Supporting Actor in Motion Picture award and a Golden Globe nomination for Best Supporting Actor for A Time to Kill. He definitely kept that box office train rolling. And starred in a bunch of films, including 187. He got an Independent Spirit Award for Best First Feature alongside first-time writer-director Cassie Lemons in Eve's Bayou. He worked with Tarantino again on Jackie Brown. And he got to work with other, just like he's worked with everyone. He's worked with Sharon Stone, Dustin Hoffman, and Sphere.
Ooh, Sphere, yeah.
A film that we've never heard of. Wait,
Michael Crichton wrote Sphere.
Oh,
and then they made a movie.
Have you seen that movie?
No, I actually haven't seen it. I really need to. It's kind of sad. It's not good. The problem is, like, the book is spectacular, but it just doesn't translate well into a movie. And they kind of botched a couple of things.
Should we do Sphere versus Biodome?
They're way different.
Okay. What's Sphere about?
Sphere is about a polished, like, chrome sphere they find at the bottom of the ocean. But it's like, well, hold on. Let me put it this way. They find a crashed spaceship in the ocean. The military does. And they send a team of people, research scientists, to go down and investigate it. Mm-hmm. Inside the ship, they finally get into the ship and they find a polished metal sphere, which has these various properties. But the twist in this whole thing is they find this ship and they're like trying to figure out like where it came from, and they're expecting it to be like some crazy technology. And then they like wipe off the control panel and it says English. Like U.S. military. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of a time travel movie.
Is it
It's not a
modern military or like future military?
Future military. It's not really time travel, but it did go through a wormhole or something like that.
Okay. So we should do Sphere versus Contact.
Yeah.
He also starred alongside Kevin Spacey in The Negotiator. And then in 99, that was the year, he starred in the horror film Deep Blue Sea. Best known for, was he the, I want to say LL Cool J was in that as well, and one of them gets bitten in half by a shark.
Ooh.
Don't remember which one. And also in 1999, he appeared in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Dun, 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 as Mace Windu, a Jedi master. So he was just eager to accept any Star Wars role at that point, and he didn't even read the script for the film before like they did his fitting. He was just like, "Yeah, I want to be in Star Wars," which I think
cool.
Everyone wanted to do that at the time, but he made it in. So yeah, that was him through the 90s. We're gonna run through the rest. He got a star on the Walk of Fame, Hollywood Walk of Fame, in early 2000.
Wow.
Let's see. He also starred in the supernatural thriller Unbreakable with Bruce Willis. He was in the remake of Shaft in the 2000s and another Shaft film, the Shaft reboot from a couple years ago. He returned for Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, developing a more major role as a minor supporting character of Mace Windu. That's when he got his purple lightsaber, which was at his own suggestion that his lightsaber be purple. And George Lucas was like, yeah, that sounds good. Jackson then acted as an NSA agent alongside Vin Diesel in Triple X. So yeah. Let's see. Based on views gathered by Rotten Tomatoes in 2004, Samuel L. Jackson starred in both the lowest and highest ranking films in his career. The Thrower Twisted, he played a mentor to Ashley Judd, which garnered a 2% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, with reviews calling the performance lackluster and wasted. And then he lent his voice to the computer animated film The Incredibles, which he played the superhero Frozone. Mm-hmm. His line is something about, where'd you put my super suit? I think is the line. Is that the line? I've never seen The Incredibles.
I don't remember, but I do. I've seen it quite a few times.
It's something about his super suit. He's yelling to his wife.
I did not know that movie was from 2004. Holy crap.
I know, right? The second one was like over a decade ago too, wasn't it?
Oh, man.
I don't know. And that had a 97% approval rating and is the best Fantastic Four film to date. He also had a cameo in Kill Bill Volume 2, which was another Tarantino film. Oh, and in 2004, that is when he starred in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas as Officer Frank Tenpenny, the main antagonist of the game. And do you remember?
I think I remember that.
Yeah. He's the police officer. He's always harassing Carl, telling him to go do stuff for him. He orchestrates.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
He orchestrated like CJ's sister's death, which is what brought him back to the city. And it was, and it ends with him firebombing the city from a fire truck with Molotov cocktails as you chase him down, and eventually I think you run him over or something. I don't remember. It was a good end. The entire city's on fire, and you have to chase him down and kill him to bring sanity back. Well, I said we are going to breeze through this, but we have not. 2005, he was in the Triple X State of the Union, which starred Ice
You
Cube.
skipped Coach Carter.
Oh, yes. He was in Coach Carter, a sports drama.
To go for a Triple X State of the Union.
Well, I've seen one and not the other. Can you guess which one I've seen?
Oh, boy.
He was also in Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. That was 2005. 2006, he received a hand and footprint ceremony at the Chinese Theater in Hollywood. He is only the seventh African-American, or he was the seventh African-American and the 191st actor to be recognized in this way. And the second film of 2006 that he was in was Snakes on a Plane. Wow. Which gained a cult film status months before it was released, and I don't think anyone likes it anymore.
That one has an explicit tag on it too.
It was so bad. Yes, and his decision to star in the film was solely based on the title. He also reprised the role of Mace Windu in 2008 in the Star Wars The Clone Wars animated film, but not the series. In 2009, he worked with Quentin Tarantino when he narrated several scenes in the World War II film Inglourious Bastards, which Andrew has seen.
I did see that.
Yes.
Didn't like it that much.
I disagree. I recall you liking it. I remember specifically you saying... It was you were one of our other friends saying, I like that better than I thought I would. But I do remember the moments when, because I dragged 4 of us to the theater to see it without saying anything about the film. And then the moment, like in the beginning, it's like a Quentin Tarantino production. I felt the 3 of you glare at me, which
I have not and probably will not watch it again. I see it in the list and I'm like, no, I can't do it.
It's too long. To be fair, I have not seen it again either, but I recall it being a good movie. Just a little gory and a little, fictional.
Yeah. I keep using the word stylized, but it was like over the top.
It was definitely Tarantino film.
But it had that one guy that's always like, what's his name?
Brad Pitt.
No, the villainous Nazi guy.
Oh,
he's in everything. He's like in a he was like a
he was in the Bond villain.
villain.
Yes, Crispin Glover. Nope.
No.
It's Crispin something. Crispin.
I don't think that's true. Christoph Waltz.
Christoph Waltz. I knew it was a weird Chris name, and I recently watched Back to the Future. He also portrayed a police officer in the opening scenes of The Other Guys.
I love that movie.
I put that in there for you.
He's partnered with Dwayne Johnson, The Rock.
And throughout his career, he appeared in many films alongside mainstream rappers, including Tupac Shakur, Queen Latifah, Method Man, LL Cool J, Busta Rhymes, Eve, Ice Cube, Exhibit, David Banner, don't know who that is, and 50 Cent. He's also appeared in 5 films with Bruce Willis, and he in 2002 he gave his consent to Marvel Comics to design their ultimate version of the character Nick Fury after his likeness, which was like a side universe story. And then in the 2008 Iron Man film, Samuel L. Jackson made a cameo at the end in the first post-credit scene as Nick Fury, which, like, I had no idea what was going on, but my friend's like, yo, that was awesome. Like,
I know none of these.
Iron Man?
I just know he has an eye patch, and he's in some of these movies.
Yes. Yeah. So he signed on for a 9-picture deal with Marvel Studios, which included Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, The First Avenger, The Avengers, and subsequent films, including The Winter Soldier, Age of Ultron, Infinity War, Endgame, Captain Marvel, as well as Spider-Man Far From Home. It was a lot. And he's also appeared in like almost all of Quentin Tarantino's movies. No, just a couple. He also played his Nick Fury role in cameo appearance on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the TV series, twice. So, yeah, In 2020, he appeared in the television documentary series Enslaved, and he has gone back to some stage performances, and he returned to Broadway for The Piano Lesson, which I think was one of those first ones that he was on, right? Anyway.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So yes, as I said at the top of this, he is reprising his role as Nick Fury this week in the Disney Plus series Secret Invasion, and later in the year in The Marvels, which is the second Captain Marvel movie, also featuring Ms. Marvel and Photon, and just
Ms. Marple.
That's the fabulous Miss Mabel okay. On Amazon.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
Yes. Let's see. As I said at the top, he's grossed 1.7 billion domestically in his films, and by 2011, the films that featured Jackson as a leading actor, supporting co-star, had grossed a total of 1.2 to 4.91 billion in the North American box office. In the Guinness Book of World Records, someone else stated that he is the highest grossing actor with 7.4 billion. But as we said, Stanley technically is in like all the Marvel movies, so he's grossed a little bit higher.
Did you know he worked for Marvel, so he made a salary?
Yes. You mean on the films?
Yeah, he didn't make. He wasn't like rich.
Oh no, yeah,
which is crazy. He was like, I believe in working for my company, and
Excelsior. Oh yeah,
and he was talking about. I'm like, dude, no.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's towards the end. He was like one of the three big people at Marvel, though.
Sure.
So yeah. But yeah, they just put him in all the things because he was one of like the two people that designed all of the classic comic characters. Yeah. Any post discussion about Sam Jackson or?
I don't think he's technically that good of an actor.
Really? I think you need to watch Pulp Fiction then.
He hasn't won any big ticket awards.
BAFTA. He's been nominated for a lot.
One BAFTA.
One BAFTA. He really.
I'm just saying. Okay, or if he's that good of an actor, it's a tragedy that he hasn't won some sort of big award. Not that that's probably why he does it. I'm just saying.
I am surprised that he's not won anything other than.
It seems like he should have won
something
an
more
Oscar,
than like a Cannes Film
Golden
Festival
Globe,
thing.
or
yeah. I don't know. Once you're a blaxploitation actor, are you allowed to win?
Possibly.
He got. Wow. Yeah. He's up for a Tony for.
Well, that's something.
The Piano Lesson. That's cool.
Meanwhile, let's see. I
feel like
Denzel Washington won 2 Academy Awards for one for Best Supporting, one for Best Actor. Like,
he has 1 Academy Award. He has 1 BAFTA, 1 Black Reel Award, no Golden Globes, and 4 NAACP Image Awards.
Okay, well.
So he does have 1 Academy Award for. Oh, he was honored by the Academy last year.
Okay, well, that's good.
But that's yeah.
But I like him and stuff. He's a unmistakable character, very prolific in his roles, and
I feel like this might come off wrong, but he's like Nick Cage.
He's a little bit of a novelty.
Yeah, he picks the roles that he wants, and and he'll have fun, and he'll do dramatic roles, he'll do comedy roles, he'll do everything, and they'll all be different. But he brings anything that he is in is instantly better because he's in it.
Yeah.
even if it's bad.
Yeah.
Which not always true of Nick Cage movies. So
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But like it was I think it was last month, but I was going through some Pulp Fiction clips because I was showing my girlfriend the scene where he eats the hamburger and shoots the guys in Pulp Fiction, and it was just like I was captivated. Like I hadn't seen it in a few years, and it was just
those
like
bebop soliloquies that were
it was
sprinkled throughout.
Can you sound more urban? Yeah. And that's it for this week's deep dive edition of Namely 90s. Remember, you can find new episodes out every Monday. Join us next week for another variety show episode. Find us on Instagram at Namely90s90s and tell us what you want us to talk about on future deep dive episodes. Please tell us. We're both out of ideas now.
Yeah.
If you'd like to support the show, please check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Namely90s, also with a 90s. And finally, you can contact us through our website, which is now back up, Namely90s.com. Please subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Audible, Badass Motherfucker, Deezer, TuneIn, iHeart, Good Pods, and wherever you get your podcasts from. I'm Brandon, that's Andrew, and we will catch you next time.
Die Hard 2 is kind of stupid.